Okay. Okay. Hi everyone. I'm recording my last episode. Yeah, so this is gonna be like a little quick little wrap up episode for you guys, kind of, putting a little wrap up on these last, 9 episodes. 8 episodes of like full content, my little intro episode and everything. Because I just wanted to, wrap up everything. I've had a really great time talking with all you guys. If this is your first one you're listening to, hi, I'm Alicia, and this is a podcast where I talk about all things popular music and popular culture. And this is my conclusion episode. I have 9 other episodes for you all to listen to. So if you haven't listened to them before, go give them a listen. Hold on. Because they're really great. I really like them. But yeah, listen to those other episodes if you haven't. But yeah, this, if you guys don't remember, this was a podcast that I created for my honors project, where the idea of this project was to explore popular music and popular culture and trends in music and things going on in the music world. And this podcast, as I was developing it, took so many different turns. And I'm really happy where it ended up. I talked about, so cool little information. At the end of this podcast, I will be taking all the data, how many people listened, all that kind of stuff, putting that into my final report, talking about all the stuff I talked about in research, within music over the course of this podcast, and putting it all into a final project that I will present and defend and all that stuff. So it kind of spurred from, I wanted to do a whole thing where I cover concerts and festivals and all that stuff for my project. But because of COVID, I kind of had to take a step back and figure out what else I could do with music and talk about music and stuff. And so that's where this podcast came from. And I had a really great time. I had a lot of fun developing it, and I do want to continue it on after this project is done. But like I said in my last couple episodes, it will be put on hold for 2 or so months as I finish up the project, present it and all that stuff, and then it will change. It will develop into, something that can stand on its own, and maybe talk with some people, delve into music and review me, talk about albums and stuff, and just different things like that. So I really hope I continue that on after this project is done. This first 10 episodes kind of served as a, delve into specific music elements and trends and things in the world of music. And I want that to kind of help set up the rest of the future episodes, hopefully, and we'll still talk about those things as well. Come back to those things as things happen, as, new data comes out and stuff. I do want to explore those things more, but I kind of wanted the first 10 episodes to kind of serve as help us understand where the world of music is now, where the music scene is now. And I think I did that. I talked about genre. That was my very first, other than my intro episode, I talked about what is genre and, do we still need genre? I talked about TikTok and how that's affecting the music scene. I talked about, whether or not you should be an independent artist or, go with a mainstream label, what was best, in today's scene, where people should go with that. I talked about, about concerts. I talked about, streaming services. I talked about, vinyl music. I talked about why we listen to music. I talked about, is our bands going away? All those things helped us understand, where the world of music is nowadays. And this is that's only the very surface level of it. There's so much out there. I could talk about music and each of those topics for hours, and those were only 30 to 40 minute little chunks of look into that. So I hope I opened up the door for you guys to explore other elements of those things, to explore it on your own, to help spark your curiosity of music, because I am someone who for years has been curious about music, loved delving into these topics. So to have the chance to talk about it with all of you was great. Even if it was just one person listening, it was just great to talk about it with just being able to share my thoughts, I guess. Because this is stuff I do on my own, with my friends and family. So to have the chance to talk about it on a platform was really awesome and really great. And I hope you guys liked listening and helped spark your interest for music. If you weren't someone who was really into or knew a lot about the world of music beforehand, maybe you learned something. Because I love when I get to open up people's curiosity and knowledge of music, even though I'm just like a little 22-year-old who has very small amounts of knowledge. Of having the chance to share it with people is always fun. So I love it. I love having the chance to talk about music. So like I said, this was very much just a brief look into the world of music. It was very much just a little peek, a little bit, open up the door a little bit, because I am constantly researching things and looking into things and finding new information, but I can't possibly talk about it in every single episode because it would just be a lot. It'd be so much stuff. So yeah. If I could talk about it for 3 hours at a time and have the time to edit, that and talk about it and all that stuff, I talk about every episode for like 10 hours, but I just don't. But I'm glad I got to talk about it in little snippets. But there's so much more I want to talk about. Like, there's so many things I wanted to talk about, but I just didn't get to because I don't have, in order to get my project done, I just don't have the time to do it yet. So I hope I continue on the podcast and get to explore different topics with you guys. I want to bring on people, my friends and people who like music and talk about, their opinions on things and why they listen to music and, how they found music. I want to bring on people who are musicians. I want to review music. I want to talk about upcoming releases. I want to talk about, big events in the music scene. When the new RIAA report comes out, I want to break that down. All that stuff I want to talk about. So I really do want to continue on this podcast, because this has been something I really enjoyed doing. I could talk about, you guys don't understand, whenever I film a recorded episode, I have to stop myself because I could go on so many tangents and have 40 million hours of audio to go through. So like I said, I want to continue on. I want to talk about more stuff, because I want to make a career out of talking about music in some form. This has just given me a chance to start that and move towards what I want to do. So I'm really grateful for that. And I know this might not be for everyone, and some of this might have been boring or not. You didn't understand it, but to me, to me, it worked out. To me, it was something that I'm really glad I got to do, and hopefully appeal to someone. So if it did, I'm really happy. I'm really glad. Let me know, because it was great. I had a great time. Like I said, this was just something that sparked because of something I had to do, and it became not a project to me. It became I looked forward to doing something. I was I get to record today. It was I loved it. It was so much fun. I can't imagine not doing it. I can't imagine not having this ability to do it. It became just something I even though I only recorded for a month, I felt like it's something I've been doing forever. So I'm really happy. Yeah, it just, I liked this. So yeah, let me know what your favorite episodes were. If there's an episode you want me to delve more deeper into, because there's some, I want to talk to the surface level of each of those episodes. So if you want me to break down stuff some more and revisit it, I totally will. Like I said, I want to continue talking about music and exploring other realms of music, exploring different artists and things more deeply. Once I get this first round done and my project done, I want to delve this deeper, because I would just love to. Music is something I'm very passionate about. If you couldn't tell, it's something that since I was 12 years old, I've really connected with and love talking about and exploring and breaking things down, breaking down lyrics, breaking down artists, learning histories behind things. And it's something that I love doing, and to have the platform to do it is something I'm really grateful for. So I want to. So feel free to send me stuff, because I will talk about it. I will research it. I will break it down, because I love it. So I really hope you guys enjoyed listening. everyone who supported it, I really appreciate it. Everyone who shared it with their friends or family, or just posted it on their own social media, I really appreciate it. Even if you just told like your neighbor about it, or like made your roommate listen with you, I appreciate it. Because every listen, every like, every share really does help. So yeah, I love it. I love being able to talk with you guys about music, and finding other people who like music. So if you have listened to every episode and love talking about music, please reach out to me, because I love finding new people who listen to music and want to talk about music. Even if you don't even like the same music as me, but you love music, talk to me, because I love talking about music, if you couldn't tell. So I find the world of music really interesting. I find all this stuff very interesting. I find pop culture very interesting. I find how those popular music and popular culture are connected very fascinating. So thank you for listening. I really do appreciate it. And this podcast has just been the time for me to explore this interests and things that I like and love talking about. So I really appreciate it. I thank you for listening, because if no one listened, then I wouldn't have a thing. So every listen helps. Every share helps. Every like helps. So I love this. I love this podcast. So yeah, even if you aren't quite sure what this podcast was, but you continue to listen, that was great. I hope I talked about some things that interest you. That was my goal, to talk about things that hopefully would interest some people, things that maybe you hadn't thought about before. That was the whole goal, was to just explore topics of music that maybe people haven't thought about before. Maybe someone was interested in things that I was interested in, things that are related to popular music and popular culture, because that was the goal. The goal was to explore popular music and popular culture through a podcast. So I hope I did that. I think I did. But yeah, if you haven't listened to other episodes, they're all on my channel. If you're listening on YouTube, just click on my name. They're all there in order. So yeah, give those a listen. Like I said, I talked about genre. I talked about TikTok. I talked about going independent versus signing with a label. I talked about why we listen to music. I talked about concerts. I talked about vinyl records and their rise. I talked about streaming services. And I talked about, possibly the idea of a band disappearing. I think that's all of them. And I have an intro and a conclusion. I think that's everything. If I missed something, I'm sorry. But there's so many other things I want to talk about, but I just don't have the time to at the moment. So I will hopefully come back and bring this back and talk about more things with you. It just might be a little bit of a lower quality, because once I graduate, I can't record in the studio anymore, because I won't be in Bowling Green. But I'll have my mic on my laptop that I can plug into my laptop. So that's where I will be recording. So I'm sorry the quality decreases, but we'll make it work, because I want to keep talking about music. I love it. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. I love talking with you guys. I love talking about music. All my social media links will be down below if you want to continue the conversation while this podcast is on hiatus, while I write my paper and do all the things so I can graduate. Because I want to continue the conversation even if I can't record at the moment. So yeah. Follow me on my Instagram, my Twitter, my TikTok. My email will be down below if you want to reach out on there. Share this podcast with all your friends and family. Make them listen, because I would love that. Subscribe so you know when it comes back, because I want people to listen once this goes away and I come back. Yeah, you can keep up with me and what's going on with my life on my social medias, on my social media accounts. Hopefully I will graduate and start looking for a job, and hopefully continue this podcast. Yeah, if you are listening on BG Falcon Media, or you haven't checked out the BG Falcon Media website, please do. Give them some support. Give the radio station support, BG Falcon Radio support, WBGU-FM, give the BG News, BG24, all that. Give everyone Falcon Communications. Just give BG Falcon Media support. Because I'm able to do this because I have access to BG Falcon Media stuff in the studio for Falcon Radio. So give them support. Check out their articles, check out those radio shows, check out the newscasts, all that stuff. Check out Live and Loud, because it's a really cool program where we get to bring in, local artists and record their live stuff and talk to them and everything. So give them support, all that stuff. So because that's helped shape my college career and helped me develop the skills to do this podcast. So give them support. They really would love it, and all the support counts. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for supporting the podcast. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I love this. I loved having the chance to do this. I loved having this opportunity. So yeah, thank you for listening. I hope you learned something about music. I hope you had an appreciation for music. I hope you maybe understand some things a little bit more. Maybe you learned something, found something interesting. Even if you didn't agree with everything I said, that's okay. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Share it with all your friends, like I keep saying, please. And listen to those other episodes if you haven't, and listen to them again. Whatever, just. I liked my stuff. I like what I talk about. So if you like it too, that'd be cool. So yeah, I guess for now this is the last time. But thank you for listening to the POPCAST. I have been Alicia. And yeah, I'll talk to you all in the future. Bye.